Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest Kickstarter campaign for the newest story from the mayamada universe. My name is Nigel. I'm a co-founder of the UK brand mayamada, and today we're going to be doing a little interview series with the other mayamada co-founder and also the creator of the Serious story, Lao K. Lao, welcome.
Great to be back. Feel like Godfather.
Wait, which part of Godfather?
Part 3.
Okay, I actually haven't seen part 3, so I do not get that reference at all.
That's where the line, it's the line, just when I thought I was out, they keep pulling me back in.
Oh, is that where that's from?
Yeah.
Okay, so I heard that was the worst one and did not watch it. So, but now I have to get the reference for this interview.
Got to watch it. I think it's worth it.
Okay. Anyway, we are not here to talk about The Godfather, although let us know your thoughts if you have seen it. We are here to talk about a new story for our Kickstarter campaign. So I want to let people know that if you are watching this campaign and we still have the sort of campaign clock going, please do check out the page after you watch this video. And check out the rewards, check out the story. We're putting together this new story from the world of Serious, using characters to sort of, I guess, help young people navigate the pandemic that we're in and learn some lessons from that. So please do check out the campaign. Help us spread the reach of the campaign by sharing on social media. On Twitter, we are at mayamada. On Instagram, we are at mayamadatees. We're going to talk to Lao about the story, about the characters, and the lessons that we want to come out from this story. So just to let people know that Lao is the co-founder of mayamada, but stepped down in 2019, but you still retain the co-founder status. So I just want to let people know because not everyone knows, and sometimes when I tell people, they ask, "Oh, is everything okay between you and Lao? Is it like amicable?" So this is also proof that everything is cool. Lao, you have not done this under duress, and we can continue. Is that all good?
And I have to agree.
Yeah, contractually have to agree. All right, so for those that don't know, much of this campaign is about the characters from the mayamada graphic novel Serious, which we released in 2016. So we are bringing that graphic novel to Kickstarter, plus an additional bonus story in this pandemic scenario, like I mentioned. So I want to give people who are new to the brand, maybe new to the story, an insight into what it's all about. So Lao, you created it. What was going through your mind when you created it? What was the message you wanted to come through this story?
That's a really good question. So this was way back in the early days of mayamada, when we were just starting out. We had the Samurai Chef, and we were working with so many different people at the time. It was still a young company, and normally when you work with people, you'd expect things to go well, but it doesn't always. I think for me it was the frustration. It was actually born out of a frustration because we were working with people who sometimes would just flake on us, and stuff like this.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was almost like, can't we just work with people that are serious? We're not expecting people to be like amazing, but at least just care, at least have like the decency to like reply to emails that week.
Yeah.
But
that continues to be an ongoing problem, the email thing.
Oh man. Yeah. So yeah, it was just kind of like that. And it's weird because stories just can start off a single thought. And for Serious, it was kind of like, actually it'd be great if there was like an alternate universe where we actually was able to get things done and work with a really cool team and stuff. I mean, in the end, we ended up finding some really great people, as you know, Nigel. And but at the time I was like, okay, I'm gonna write a story about this. I'm kind of forming an idea, and the premise is quite simple. It's an underdog story, although the main character is actually a rabbit.
Yeah. So
And
it's a under rabbit story.
yeah. And yeah, it's a guy called Blake who comes from a kind of disadvantaged background, I'd say. And off in the distance, he can see the big city known as the jungle, and it's his aim to start a business and make it in the jungle. And the only way he can do that is by teaming up with other like-minded people who can help him get there. Now, it doesn't actually start off that way, but as the story unfolds, he does in fact end up meeting different people, and it kind of just goes from there. So it's a really cool sort of journey, and I love those kinds of stories where people don't just stay in one location, but they actually go from place to place and meet different people and get in a little adventure. And that was the kind of story I wanted us to tell with Serious, and it wasn't without its challenges, as I'm sure we might get into, but
Yeah.
it was a satisfying comic once we were done. I was happy with it.
Okay. Cool. That's good because it's out and people have read it. So, like, yeah, obviously I know like it was kind of loosely based on our own journey, and I know that we put a few people in our characters either directly or indirectly. Or at least I have. Is there anyone in the story that was like, how close did this hit? Is there anyone in the story that is actually from your experience or from our early experience?
I think I could only really say subconsciously, probably I did that, but but there wasn't anyone I was thinking of directly, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
There is one person, of course. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Fox, but
Okay.
Fox
Yeah.
hasn't appeared yet. So yeah, if the person you know who you are is watching this, listening to this, yeah, is going to appear.
Cool. Do you have a favorite character from this story?
I think Nova is my favorite character.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Nova's pretty cool. Yes.
Yeah, Nova's like the person that would have been the main character if not for Blake. And I like characters like that, where they actually could stand in their own right, but they have to play second fiddle, and they're cool with that. They kind of are willing to kind of go along for the greater good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like him, and he's got a bit of attitude to him as well, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, he struck me as the character who is sort of confident in his own self and his own ability to take a back seat to someone else who's the leader, which is a good quality to have. Yeah. Okay. I had actually I don't know who's my favorite. Actually, to be fair, I think mine also is Nova for that reason. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, you mentioned the production process. So it's kind of one of those behind the scenes moments, like to give people a glimpse into. And because like, I remember even like last year when we could go to conventions, someone bought a copy of Serious, and it was that one in particular that made me think about this, but he bought it at the convention and then I saw him an hour later and he's like, oh yeah, the book was great. I really enjoyed it. I'm like, you just bought it an hour ago. You read it in that time. It's like, yeah, I really enjoyed it. And obviously I'm sort of very grateful for that. I'm grateful that I enjoyed it, but it always makes me think back to how difficult this particular production process was. And how the time put into it did not match the time it took to read. So, like for the making of it, how did you find it as your first sort of major comic? How did you find it? And what did you learn from the process?
I think the way I describe it is bittersweet. It was sweet because obviously it's the first project where I get to see a idea being turned into a full volume comic, which is great. Just getting to see those characters drawn for the first time was awesome. And yeah, just seeing the story come together, working with yourself and Lara Lee, and Penali, of course. The bitter part, wow. Let's put it this way: Serious is a very big story, as we found out.
Yeah.
And there were parts that I really wanted to hit hard. So there were scenes that I wanted in the story, but naturally with this sort of process, you have a limit on the number of pages. So as things transpired, we ran out of pages and things had to get cut. And unfortunately, it was scenes that, yeah, I would have loved to have in there, but if something has to go, it had to be those scenes. I won't say which ones because I'm holding out hope that a director's cut will happen one day.
The Schneider cut.
So, just saying, guys. But no, seriously, I think it was just the fact that we had to do some editing on some key scenes. But I mean, we still made it work. Obviously, people liked it in the end anyway. I liked it in the end. But that was something that, I think as any creator knows, it is part of the process. And I think being able to go through that actually makes you a better creator. And it allows you to consider the journey of the reader as well, like for next time from the outset, and go, okay, I don't want to run into that problem again. What can I do to ensure, I hit all the key points within the page count? I mean, you're always going to have to trim, and some people like to do it that way. Some people like to kind of write a story fat and then trim down. Me, not so much, but yeah, it was a good learning experience.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think it's important because I tell this story in workshops and stuff like that, the importance of like planning your story and understanding like page limits and all that. So those constraints are good because it causes you to focus. So, so basically just to sort of give the full background to everyone, as we were illustrating, as Penali was illustrating the Serious story, which is like a 120 odd, page comic, and while we were illustrating, we realized we had 30 pages too much and had to take those out of the story while it was being made, which is like the worst time to do it. So it kind of forced us to make those adjustments, think about what was important to the story and what wasn't. But like you say, coming out of that, we understand, okay, when we make a story, like we understand, we have to think about how many pages do we have to tell this story. Just like, a film will have, a certain length of time, unless you're like Endgame and you can go for 3 hours. But generally speaking, you've got a certain limit and, you have to tell your story in that limit. So things do get cut. It's just better to cut them earlier in the process rather than when you're writing. But it was a good lesson, I think. And it helped us for our next story, Hot Lunch. So we're now looking at a new story for Serious, like this bonus story that we're working on. For this story, or just in general, for like Serious Volume 2 and Volume 3, what would you like to see from the Serious story? Asking for a friend, because that friend has to now write the story.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Serious has a large cast, I'd say, and I think for the kind of story that was told in the first volume, it's really just about seeing more of the different facets, different aspects of the characters. Because I think it would be great to, learn more about them, how they respond and react to different situations, kind of see different dynamics play out, how people get along with each other and that sort of thing. So that's what I'd look forward to.
Cool. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Stay tuned for part 2 of our chat with Lao K. In the meantime, please check out the Kickstarter campaign page. We have a bunch of cool rewards on offer for people who do back the campaign, or you could just get involved, share it with your friends and followers, and we'll be back with part 2.